nearlydanish.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The questions are visible, yes. There's a bunch of errors, bugs on the site. I'll fix all that stuff. Don't worry about it, man. Okay, we're doing INDFØDSRETSPRØVEN November 2021. All right, so this is a frequently asked question. There's usually a question about Christian IV, and it's usually a question about who's responsible for some of the most popular buildings in Copenhagen. Rundtårn, Rosenborg, etc., etc., and it's Christian IV. He was the king that was most interested in architecture and art. All right, moving on to the next one. Also a frequently asked question. All right, so in Denmark, unlike some other countries like the UK and the US, for instance, Parliament has, I think, about 14 individual parties. And for that reason, they are usually minority government. It's only been in the last, actually, there could have been a majority government this past government, but Mette Frederiksen promised to have a government across the middle, which is the reason why she didn't just pack her cabinet with people from the Social Democratic Party. This question is about a minority government, so it's called mindretalsregering. I don't know if I said that right, but you get the point. All right, moving on to the next one. Okay, so SS is the highest climber, up 38 places. Wow! It's a lot of places to climb, I think. Is that the highest I've seen? I'm not sure. Anyways, next one. You've seen this before. Yeah, okay, so pay attention to the answer, okay? So sometimes they represent it as a percentage, and sometimes they represent it as a fraction. So that's kind of, it's a bit tricky. But as long as you can do your math, then you'll be fine. And also bear in mind that in these Kahoots, I only give you 20 seconds to answer the question. Whereas in the real exam, you have 1 minute, okay? So I put you under a bit more pressure here than in the real test. And I do that to prepare you for the real test. But in the real test, take your time, read the question slowly, read the answer slowly, make sure you understand what the question is asking, make sure you understand each answer, and then you go ahead and answer. And in that way, you avoid making errors. Also, another thing I keep saying, although a lot of people end up not listening to me, but I'll keep saying it, is look, when you're doing the test, okay, make sure you're confident on your first answer. Don't finish, sit down there, get nervous, and then go and change your answers. Because actually, I know more than 2 or 3 people that have done that and ended up failing the test because they changed a correct answer to a wrong answer and they failed the test by 1 point. So don't be that person, okay? On to the next one. Okay, so the top 5 is completely reshuffled. Next one. Okay, one of them is here. 3 times. Oh my God. Sorry, man. This is also a frequently asked question. So after World War II, there were about 240,000 German refugees to Denmark. 29 people got this wrong.
Now you know what you don't know.
All right, next one. You're going to see that question again, so get it right the next time. 8 players lost their answer streak of 3. Next one. This was a brand new question. All right, so this was a brand new question on, I think this is November 2021. They had just, I think they had changed the book. And this was new information in the book, and this showed up in the test. And I'm not surprised 61 people got this wrong. This is also from chapter 5. Excuse me. Is it chapter 5? Yes, I think so. Like I said before, you know, a lot of the times new questions come from chapter 5. So you need to pay close attention to that. I hope now that you've been to, well, I think how many sessions have we had? 2, 3, can't remember. Anyways, you're beginning to see the pattern. Okay, so this test is all about the pattern. If you understand the pattern of the test, then you're more well equipped to pass the test. Okay, next one. Okay, Civi Will. At the moment we have Kirby9, Milad, BI, Biz, and Civi Will. Civi Will is a new name. Never seen that before.
Great job.
Next one. Yeah, you've seen this. This was in one of the Kahoots that we did previously. Yes, so in the 1600s, there were a lot of wars between Denmark and Sweden. I'm actually quite surprised that people got this wrong. 62. Okay, well.
Now you know what you don't know.
Fix that knowledge gap. It will show up in your profile. Next one. Civil War didn't last in the top 5 fallen out. Nazrul is now in there. This was definitely a combo breaker. Sorry, guys. You know the answer to this. You've seen this before. You'll see it a whole bunch of times. This is one of the most frequently asked questions. I'm expecting most of you to get this right. All right, round of applause. All right, so 7 people got this wrong. For the 7 people that got this wrong, when you're arrested by the police, they have an obligation to get you in front of a judge within 24 hours. You're going to see this again, so, you know, prepare. And
now you know what you don't know.
Next one. It will show up in your profile so you can fix that. Dan King is back in the game 3 in a row.
Oh my! He's on fire!
Next one.
Uh-oh.
This actually showed up in November 2023? All right, so this showed up in November 2023. Frequently asked question as well. 21 people got this wrong. Someone made a mistake. He's posted in the chat. Well, at least you know what the real answer is. In the test, you know, don't answer too quickly, answer slowly. Next one. All right, we have a static top 5.
Static top 5.
KA is the highest climber, up 12 places.
Excellent.
Next one. Anders Fogh Rasmussen became the General Secretary of NATO in 2009. He was a former Prime Minister, and I think he was in Venstre. His party was Venstre. All right, how many people got this wrong? 43. Well, now you know what you don't know. Plug that knowledge gap, it will show up on your profile. All right, no one in the top 5 was touched. Static top 5 as well.
Static top 5.
Question number 10. Frequently asked question. I hope you all get this right. All right, so 1973, Denmark joined the EU. It was called European Fellowship back then. In 1972, there was a referendum, and a slight majority of people voted to join the EU. All right, how many people got this wrong? So 28 people got this wrong. This is a frequently asked question, so this is one of the questions that you must know the answer to. Whenever I say a question is a frequently asked question, you must know the answer to this question because it has a high probability of showing up in the next test. Now, the way you prepare yourself for these frequently asked questions is when you go to your profile, you see this here, frequently asked questions, okay? Now there's about 200 of them. You must know the answers to every single one of them. Reza, or Razan, he has been putting in a lot of work. He's covered 3 parts out of 4, and I think he's number 1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's number 1. So he's been putting in a lot of work. You guys should be like him and put in work. Next one. All right, Sri 36 is the highest climber, up 15 places.
Excellent.
Next one. Also frequently asked question. All right, 18 people got this wrong. The highest court in Denmark is Højesteret. So that's the Supreme Court. Okay, static top 5, 11 players reached an answer streak of 3.
Great job.
Next one. Also FAQ. All right, 4 people got this wrong. This is gonna show up, well, not going to, but this has a high probability of showing up. So you need to know the answer to this. Okay, so this top 5 is not budging. Everybody in the top 5 has over 11K points. So that means everyone has a perfect score. Round of applause to you guys. Rekha is back with an answer streak of 3.
Great job.
Next one. Okay. Yeah, this is semi-frequently asked. So in 2007, the Amtana were basically removed and regions were created. I can't remember how many there were. I'm not sure, but the counties were reduced to regions, and there's now 5 regions. I can't remember the previous number, and the communes were reduced to 98. But this is a semi-frequently asked question. So for the people that got this wrong, which is over 50, so this is definitely a weak spot for you guys.
Now you know what you don't know.
All right. Plug that knowledge gap. Prashant, thanks. Woohoo is back in the game, 3 in a row.
Excellent.
Next one. Okay, so this is a tough one for you guys as well. 1807. Okay, this is one of the, okay, this is definitely a question that you must know. Okay, so 1807, the Brits bombarded Denmark, Copenhagen in particular, and this was during the Napoleon Wars. So the Brits bombarded Copenhagen and took over Denmark's fleet of ships. How many people got this wrong? Exactly 50. Well, get to know this, plug your knowledge gap. It's better to fail it here than to fail it in the test. So don't feel bad if you're not doing too well. This is a combo breaker. 4 players drop the answer streak of 3. All right, so judges are not allowed to wear any kind of religious symbols inside a courtroom. And the reason is that the judge is supposed to be unbiased. So he or she cannot have any allegiance to any visible allegiance to any type of, ideology, association, organization, whatever. All right, this is a frequently asked question. Neutral, that's the word, neutral. All right, 17 people got this wrong.
Now you know what you don't know.
All right, Sergi is back in the game, 3 in a row.
Oh my! He's on fire!
Next one. You've seen this before. I hope you all get this right. This was in the previous Kahoot. It's also relevant for both tests. So Melbo escapes pawn and Impulse at pawn. Okay, 18 people got this wrong. You need to know the answer to this question. It's a frequently asked question. And in Denmark, you start getting tried as an adult in court at the age of 15. All right, next one. So if you commit a crime and you're 15 years old, you're tried as an adult. If you're 14, you're still a child, so they don't try you as a child in court. All right. BBL is making a comeback with 3 in a row.
Great job.
We have a static top 5.
Static top 5.
All right. At the moment, we have Kirby, DI, Milad, Borger, and Biz in the top 5. I think I recognize all these names. These people have been practicing a lot. Next one. Semi-frequently asked question as well. All right, so the US Army base is in Greenland in Thule. 20 people got this wrong. This is semi-frequently asked. You will find it under the most frequently asked as well, but it's down the list. But you must know the answer to this as well. As you can see, this November 2021 test was relatively simple compared to, relatively easy, sorry, compared to all the other previous tests. I think this was when they had just switched over or something, I can't remember. But anyways, switched over from 40 questions to 45, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, what's going on in this top 5? Biz just went up a notch. 29 players reached an answer streak of 3.
Excellent.
We're almost at the halfway point now. Frequently asked question as well. All right, so you can, well, you've heard me say frequently asked question a lot, right? And yeah, that means that a lot of these questions, if you had just practiced with all the previous tests, you would have passed. I'm actually surprised that there's this number of people that got this wrong. So 59 people got this wrong, almost half. Well, in 1920, after the First World War. Okay, the context of this is this, right? So in 1864, there was the Second Schleswig War between Denmark and Prussia. Prussia was basically the Austro-Hungarian Empire and Germany fighting against Denmark. Denmark lost that war and therefore lost Sønderjylland. And after the First World War, which Germany lost, Germany was basically told to give Sønderjylland back to Denmark. And in 1920, Denmark was reunited with Sønderjylland. And that's what this question is about. This is also a frequently asked question. For the people, the 59 people that got this wrong.
Now you know what you don't know.
Plug that knowledge gap, it will show up on your profile. All right. 4 players just hit an answer streak of 12.
Great job.
Next one. This is a brand new question at the time. All right, so the average lifespan of females in Denmark in 2019, from between 2019 and 2020, was 83 to 84 years old. It's just a number that you have to remember. Also, I think they asked once for the average lifespan of men. This is in the part that discusses health, I think. But anyways, this was a brand new question at the time. Get to know these numbers for men and women. For the people that got this wrong, this is how many people? 55 people.
Now you know what you don't know.
Next one. All right, we have a static top 5.
Static top 5.
6 players have reached an answer streak of 6.
Excellent.
Question number 20. Also frequently asked. A third of all workers in Denmark actually work in the public sector. 46 people got this wrong. This is a frequently asked question. You must know the answer to this. Alex is back in the game 3 in a row.
Oh my! He's on fire!
Next one. We are almost at the halfway point. Okay. Brand new question from chapter 5. But if I'm not mistaken, this guy has been removed from the book. Yes, he was a polar researcher. Like I said, a lot of new questions come from chapter 5. So make sure you read chapter 5, practice all the quizzes there over and over again. Way more than half of you got this wrong. Sorry, guys. Oh, okay, he's still in the book. I can't remember, but someone was removed from that chapter 5. Can't remember his name. But anyways, the point remains. Chapter 5 is a source of new questions. And I can see this is a weak spot for a lot of people here. Well, better to mess it up here than to mess it up in the test. All right, so Biz climbing up the charts. Borja fell down. SRA is making a comeback with 3 in a row.
Great job.
22. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
All right, so the first railway lines were opened in the 1840s. Yeah, that's about it. I think it's between Copenhagen and Roskilde. How many people got this wrong? 43 people got this wrong. Now you know what you don't know. Oh, okay. So Kirby fell out of the top 5 at the last minute. I think he messed that question up. Sorry, man. DI number 1, Milad 2, Borja 3, Biz 4, and Nazrul 5. 4 players have reached an answer streak of 4. We are at the halfway point now. Also frequently asked question. Okay, so Denmark's national bank was designed by Arne Jacobsen. He also designed furniture, like the egg chair and is it Kai Boyesen or Arne Jacobsen, and some other things. He's a famous Danish designer. All right. 46 people got this wrong. Now you know what you don't know.
Now you know what you don't know.
All right. Static top 5. Liesel is back in the game with 3 in a row.
Great job.
The pH lamps were designed by Paul Henningsen, not Anna Jacobsen. That's why they're called pH. Those are his initials. You saw this question in Melbo Escape's poem, the previous Kahoot. All right, round of applause. Biz is now on the podium, or back on the podium? Yeah, I can't remember anyways. Anyways, 4 players reached an answer streak of 5. Question number 25. Venstre. The keyword is which of the following parties, right? If the Social Democratic Party was here, it would be the Social Democratic Party, but it wasn't. But it's not. So it's Venstre. Okay. How many people got this wrong? 42. Static top 5.
Static top 5.
You must know the answer to this, okay? All right, so a good formula is 4-4-5. So every 4 years for the Folketing election, every 4 years for the regional and communal election, and every 5 years for the European Parliament election. So 4-4-5. Remember that. There's usually questions about which one of those elections in the test. So as long as you have that those numbers in your head, then you know what the answer is. All right, so Milad has the highest answer streak of 26. That's a perfect score.
Perfect score.
But Milad is not number 1, so he doesn't get an explosion. Moving on to the next one. You've seen this before. Semi-frequently asked. All right, so the Socialist People's Party was created in 1959, and they were created by, or it was created by people that left the Communist People's Party. 38 people got this wrong.
Now you know what you don't know.
Plug the knowledge gap, it will show up on your profile. Okay, so Martina 9 is making a comeback with 3 in a row.
She's on fire.
Excellent.
Next one. All right, so Vonlon has been changed 4 times, I think. And the last change was in 1953. And that change was to allow females to inherit the throne. And that's how come the Queen inherited the throne in 1972. But she's abdicated now, and her son, King Frederick, is now the king. All right. Moving on to the next one. Static top 5.
Static top 5.
Ole A is back in the game with 3 in a row.
Oh my! He's on fire!
FAQ. This showed up in one of the previous Kahoots, so if you were here the last time, you've seen this before. All right, round of applause. So the highest point in Denmark is 170 meters over sea level. Static top 5.
Static top 5.
8 players reached an answer streak of 8. We saw this as well. By the way, if you're not doing well at this specific Kahoot, please do not feel bad. Like I've said before, the purpose of these practice sessions is for you to come here and figure out your weak spots, okay? Figure out what you don't know. Then during the week, you go and plug those knowledge gaps. How do you do that? You do the quizzes, you read the book, and then you come back and you test yourself. And we repeat this process twice a week, every week, until the test, okay? And when you get to the test, hopefully you pass. And there's a 90-something% chance that you pass. On the day of the test, please don't be overwhelmed with nerves. Okay, it's easier said than done, I know. But the best thing you could do for yourself is when you get in there, just be calm, okay? Have faith in the work that you put in. The trick is to put in the work. Put in the work so that when you get in there, you'll be calm and confident. I'm speaking from experience, not just my experience, but the experience of other people. I finished the test in about 5 minutes or something, and I got 37 out of 40 points. This was back when it was 40 questions without the Danish values. So put in the work, okay? That's basically what I'm trying to say. Next one. Okay, so DI has 30 correct answers in a row. DI is number 1, and DI is on fire, so DI gets an explosion. Okay. And that's a perfect score as well.
Perfect score.
Okay, we have 15 questions to go and we're done. We've seen this before. All right, Faroe Islands has 50,000 inhabitants. Okay, 16 people got this wrong. Now you know what you don't know. Plug that knowledge gap. Static top 5.
Static top 5.
7 players reached the answer streak of 10. I already told you about this in the previous Kahoot. Let's see if you guys remember. All right, Thorvald Stauning, first Social Democratic Prime Minister elected in 1924. The same year, he appointed the first female Prime Minister, Nina Bang. She was also a member of the Social Democratic Party, and she was undervisningsminister. These are two frequently asked questions. So 26 people got this wrong. Plug your knowledge gap.
Now you know what you don't know.
Next one. Static top 5.
Static top 5.
10 players reach an answer streak of 5.
Excellent.
Next one. All right, so 1973, this was the year that Denmark joined the EU. And there was an election year that year. The previous year, there was a referendum, and there was a slight majority to join the EU. As a result, a lot of protest parties were voted into parliament the year after. And that's what this is about. What else is there? 1973 was actually a very significant year in Danish history. Lots of things happened that year. I can't remember exactly what else. So this is EU, this election, the landslide election. What else? Can't remember. But anyways, next one. Okay, so static top 5. This was a combo breaker. The Red Stocking Movement. Was it 1973? Yes, abortion. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, 3 players dropped the answer streak of 4. This was a combo breaker. Sorry, guys. Chapter 5 again. Brand new question from chapter 5. All right, so 31 people got, no, 41 people got this wrong, not 31. Ture Ditlevsen wrote Barndom's Girl in 1943. This is from chapter 5 under the literature section. Yeah, like I said, you need to practice that chapter because a lot of new questions come from there. Next one. All right, so at the moment, just before we reach the last question in the history section of the test, we have DI, Milad, Biz, Borja, and Nazrul. Round of applause to you guys. Three players just hit an answer streak of 13.
Great job.
Last history question. We talked about this already. Okay, so yes, you can be a minister. You can be appointed as a minister, even though you're not a member of parliament. And the only difference is that when it's time to vote on laws, you can't vote because you're not a member of parliament, because you're not an elected member of parliament. All right. 14 people got this wrong.
Now you know what you don't know.
All right, we're moving into current affairs. This is 2021. I don't expect you to know the answer to this, but the important thing is to pay attention to the theme, okay? And as we hit the question, we will be discussing the theme as well. All right. Off we go. All right, so the theme here is Danish excellence on the world stage. In this case, Danish excellence in sports, the Olympics in Tokyo that were postponed because of COVID to 2021. Victor Axelsen won the gold medal in badminton. So something to look out for in the news is any Danish sports personalities, individuals, or teams that have done well in any major sports on the world stage. So handball, football, badminton, tennis, whatever. All right, moving on to the next one. Sorry, let me just rewind a bit. So Danish excellence on the world stage. In this case, it was sports, but it could be in anything, science, culture, movies, whatever. So just keep an eye out for that. Yash is back with an answer streak of 3.
Oh my! He's on fire!
Static top 5. This is actually okay. Okay. Oh, wow. Lots of people got this wrong. So this is 59 people got this wrong. All right. So in 2021, the Vereniging Loyal to Familia was dissolved by the Supreme Court. The theme of this is state affairs. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is that this specific question was actually repurposed and used as a Danish values question in November 2023. I don't know if you guys recognize this. So in November 2023, the question was, which authority can dissolve a forening that uses violence to achieve its goals? And the options were Højesteret and police. Okay, so this is the exact same question. So pay attention. I hope you're beginning to see the patterns here. Okay. Anyways, moving on to the next one. I don't know if that made any sense. 4 players just dropped an answer streak of 4. We still have a static top 5. Next one. Okay, so like I said, I don't expect you guys to know the answers to these things, okay? This is someone that was the minister of the culture and church minister in August 2021. But the point is this. Let's recap the themes we've come across so far. The first theme, Danish excellence on the world stage. In that case, a sports person. So Victor Axelsen won the gold medal in the Olympics. The second theme was state affairs. In that case, it was the Supreme Court dissolving Loyal to Familia, the Vereniging. Now, the theme here is the government, which is the prime minister and her ministers. There is a quiz on this, okay? Basically naming the prime minister and all the ministers, and that quiz is under current affairs. It's not in your profiles just yet. I will be updating it and putting it back there so you can practice with that. But I hope so. So far, 3 themes. Let's see what the next one is. All right. Someone is asking, what does loyal to familia mean? So loyal to familia was a forening, but actually it was kind of like a gang. And it was involved in a lot of the, what do they call? I don't know, like, you know, Pusher Street in Christiania. So they were involved in a lot of that kind of activity, and it was dissolved by the Supreme Court. Okay. So someone is saying, for current affairs moving forward, could you create questions based on the news from last? Bro, listen, yeah, like we're doing the, okay, I don't even know how to say this. Okay, so we're doing this like this so that you can see the pattern. Of course, there will be questions from the last 6 months. We're repeating INDFØDSRETSPRØVEN 2021. Okay, but of course, there will be questions from the last 6 months. We're just not there yet. This is the third or fourth or fifth session? I can't even remember. All right. Moving forward, we've got 2 more current affairs. Next one. All right, so whenever there's an election year, or whenever there's a year where an election has happened, there usually is a question about that election. And in 2021, there was one. Yeah, I think it was the communal elections that happened in 2021. And this is one of the questions from there. But this year, there hasn't been, there was a election in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, but that was a couple of years ago. So there hasn't been any elections, and I don't think there will be any questions about any elections in the coming test. The whole purpose of this is for us to see the pattern of the test, right? And then we will move on into these things called mock tests. So mock tests are basically pretend tests. And of course, the current affairs would be current. Okay, the current affairs will be from the last 6 months. I'm just prepping you guys so that you actually begin to see the pattern, so that by the time we get to the mock test, you actually start to anticipate. So the point of this is to try to anticipate what the test will be like. And the more you do this, the more you kind of structure, like the more you train your mind to train your brain to kind of get used to what the test is like, then the more you will be able to perform at the actual test. All right. Next one. Okay, something happened. Borja is now at number 2. Nazrul is at number 3. Now on the podium, Milad is at number 1. Biz fell to number 3, and Prasul jumped in at number 5. Or maybe he's been there, I just didn't see. Anyways, Martinez, the highest climber, up 5 places.
Excellent.
We've got 6 questions to go. All right, this is the last one. Okay, the theme here is protests, okay? So back during the COVID times, there was a group called Men in Black, and they were protesting about the freedoms, or the during the lockdown, they were protesting about that. That showed up in the test. The nurses protesting about their pay. That showed up in the test. So keep an eye out for any protest. There's been a lot of protest about Palestine, and any other protest that you come across in the news, or you see as you're walking around the city, anything. Keep an eye on that, because that is a potential candidate. All right. So far we came across Danish excellence on the world stage, Prime Minister and her ministers, state affairs, protests. I can't remember what the last one was. But anyways, we're moving on to Danish values. At the moment, we have a static top 5: Milad, Borja, Nazrul, Biz, and Prasul. 3 in a row. MRI is back in the game.
Great job.
All right, we've got 5 questions to go. The last 5 questions are Danish values. Either yes or no. All right, so the question is about what it says. Do free schools, basically, do private schools have an obligation to support and to support the pupils' respect for gender equality? The answer is yes. Okay, so in Denmark, let me see if I can. The point is to get behind the question. Okay, so what is this question about? The question is about gender equality. That is the value. That is the Danish value that's in this question. Now, gender equality questions can take many different forms. This is just one of the forms. Now, this is gender equality in the context of private schools. Now, there could be gender equality in the context of the church. Now, an example of that would be the question, can men and women become bishops in Dansk Folkekirken, right? And because one of the Danish values is gender equality, the answer is yes. So if you understand the thinking behind it, then it will guide you to the answer. Even if you don't fully, I know sometimes the Danish used in these questions is a bit, twisted, and a word might throw you off. But if you understand the context of the question, it will guide you to the answer. I don't know if that made sense. But anyways, moving on. Right, static top 5. Dan Onino is back with an answer streak of 3. Hopefully I have a picture for this. Ah, shucks. This always happens. This is not the full question, but could you be sent to jail if you send your child abroad to a relationship that the child doesn't want? And the answer is yes. The theme here is children's rights and also freedom, okay? And yeah, there's not much else to say. So there could be, so this is children's rights within the context of, relationships and being sent abroad against their will. Okay, 11 people got this wrong. Saeed, yes, you are right. Next one. Static top 5. All right. Okay, so the question is, according to Danish law, can a family decide who the partner of an 18-year-old family member should be? The answer is no. The theme here is freedom of choice. Okay, so freedom to choose. And well, at 18 years old, you are already an adult, so this is not children's rights. But yes. Moving on to the last 2 questions. So 14 people got this wrong. Like I said before, the trick is to understand the context, so the context behind the question. Once you understand that, it will guide you to the answer. And like Saeed said, if the question starts with, can you be sent to jail for the answer is usually yes. Okay, Bogdan is back with an answer streak of 3. We've got a static top 5.
Static top 5.
And this one is for Bogdan.
Oh my! He's on fire!
All right. 2 more questions and we're done. This one threw a lot of people off. A lot of people failed this particular question and failed the whole test because of it. All right, so the question is it legal for children to be married in Denmark? And of course, the answer is no. And the context here is children's rights. Children, basically, the law states that you have to be at least 18 years old to be married in Denmark. Anything below that is illegal. All right, last one. Biz back on the podium at the last minute. Pool is back with an answer streak of 3.
Excellent.
Last question. All right. I want someone to tell me the context of this in the chat. Let's see if you're catching it. After you answer. Exactly. Exactly. Round of applause. So the context here is gender equality yet again. So you can see, right? Gender equality has actually appeared twice in 2 questions. The first question and the last question were questions about gender equality in a different context. And the context here is swimming pools. All right, so that's it. Let's have a look at the podium. Biz at number 3. Borja at number 2. And of course, Milad, I think, at number 1. We have Nazrul 4 and Prasol 5.
NearlyDanish.com.